Hey there, beautiful people. Michael Pure with you here from Words with Oz, and this is episode 3 of Thoughts with Oz. This is the secondary part to the Words with Oz podcast, where I spend about 10 or 15 minutes discussing with you a particular subject that I think will have a benefit to all of us in pursuit of our most ambitious goals and in the pursuit of living our life more fulfilled. Something that I think will inspire you to have some thoughts of your own, and inspire you during the week to be able to go after those massive goals and live that more fulfilled life. I don't know about you guys, but I often get frustrated. Frustrated with myself, frustrated with my results, frustrated with my level of progress, frustrated in the general sense that I'm just not getting it done fast enough. And frustrated that I often don't practice enough patience. There are many sources of this. I have no doubt that it came from somewhere back in my childhood. Many sources. And, I'm quite apt, as I'm sure many of you listening to the Words of Oz podcast are, I'm quite apt at this idea of the mindfulness and, being so self-aware that I can see when I'm acting that way. But it doesn't stop those feelings from coming. It doesn't stop that inherent programming of ours from making us feel that way and making us act in a way that that hinders us because we're so frustrated. We want to rush, and I think we need to look at an idea of being more relaxed and being a little bit more patient in our long-term goals, and that's what I want to talk to you guys today about. I'm sure there is some pretty core reasons to why I feel this way, I might act this way, and why you guys might act this way, act so rushed and impatient and frustrated with yourself and your success levels so far. And I remember particularly when I was 18 or so, I didn't set about anything. I said that I was going to be a millionaire by the time I was 21. I even have a friend that we could call right now if we really had to, and if I asked him, he'd say, yeah, I remember you telling me that. I remember you telling me that over a beer or two. I was sure of it, I didn't check my ego. I was always in a rush, but I knew that I was going to be reaching these massive goals. And the issue that I didn't know then, that I've become more wise of now, is that idea that you can't focus on the results of that short game. In pursuit of what you really want in life, in a focus of what's truly important in life, you can't look at that immediate gratification. And I know I'm saying immediate as in that was a 3-year period, but if you aim at something that short in a game that short and the results in that short, you really take away from what you're going to achieve in that longer term. The missions and value of our life that truly gratify us need to play out in that longer game. Now, I'm sure I can be forgiven for that pursuit and those thoughts as a youngster, and you can as well if you were that young, or if you can remember back to coming up with those goals when you were that young. And I don't feel that way today. Well, maybe a little. I set those goals and ambitious goals quite hard, but I know how to keep myself in check. But I am different being today, and I think in a completely different manner. The lessons are still there to be learned. In pursuing the outrageous goals, we need to have patience. In pursuing that long game, if we work for it, if we keep up the effort, if we stay optimistic, and we have faith in ourselves, whatever we're trying to achieve, that outrageous goal that we're trying to achieve in the long game, it will come. There truly isn't any rush anymore. And I never, why do we rush things? The wisest among us know not to rush. I recently sat down with my nan. She just turned 93, and I sat down with her to record a podcast for the family. It was a typical Words of Oz style podcast, but I was recording it with my nan for our family. And I set up the mics, and I was about to dive into all the questions, and I was ready to go, I was all pumped to go. And just as I sat down, she leans over and in her adorable, quaint, no nonsense, no rush voice, she says, I love the garden. I love gardening. I see beauty in nature. I see the perfection in the little things. And it struck me. What a reflection something like that is. To be able to sit back and have that reflection. Sit back and enjoy the perfection in the little things. Someone who's 93, been around, seen it all, and that's what she's got to say. That's the first thing she wants to say. I don't know, not sure if she thought about it or not, if it just came up, but it's a pretty cool thing to think about. She didn't talk about all the achievements or the rushing to perform or the big next thing to do or the big task to get done. All that will come what you'll miss on this journey is much more important than that. What you'll miss are the small things, the little things, the little perfections. You know, and similarly, I read a study recently. I can't think where I read it, but I think it was an Australian palliative nurse, and she spent her time with dozens and dozens and dozens of people who were on their deathbed, and she managed to write an article to say what the top 5 biggest regrets were of these people. And there are a few in there that kind of matched what you'd think would be pretty typical, but the 5th was that they wish they'd spent more time being happy. Being happy. They didn't seek happiness, and I want you to hear the difference there. They didn't say they wanted to spend more time being in a rush or in achieving happiness, not striving for that next deal or striving for an achievement that will bring them the happiness. They just wish they spent time being happy. So stop rushing. If you're doing all the right things in pursuit of your goal, it will come. You've just got to have patience. We don't have to rush. And from what I can tell, and from all my experiences thus far, and from my 93-year-old knowledgeable nan, rushing to bring reward upon us faster doesn't actually add anything to our life. Instant gratification, in almost all cases, is never a good thing. Think about that. Instant gratification. The quick fixes. The fake photos online. The lose 5 kilos fast programs. It's just so you can gain 8 kilos back later. None of these instant gratification, none of these things that make us feel good straight away, none of them end up being a good thing. It's the stuff that we have to work for. It's the stuff that we put in for the long game. It's the delayed gratification that brings us most of our happiness. And I want you to think about that, because in today's world, that's what we're missing. The way that we seek all this instant gratification, the way that we seek this fast reward, the way that we're always wanting more immediately, is destroying our ability to put in the effort, be patient, and seek those outrageous goals far, far, far into the future. You know, you want to be a fitter person. Don't do the things immediately. It takes daily work. One of the guys that I interviewed has a gym in Adelaide called BioFit, and favourite hashtag is theirs. It's called brushing your teeth. It's the things you do daily and the delayed gratification that you seek from doing those things daily that bring the best and biggest rewards. And it's what you do daily that you can control. And I want you to think about that in seeking, in practicing patience to seek those outrageous goals, control what you can control, and have patience on the rest. I may repeat it a few times, but for us to work hard and keep up the effort, that's enough. And that's my reminder of what it takes, because you need to control those things and just have faith in your abilities and patience that the rest is going to happen. Good things will come. Think about any person who's achieved greatness. They've failed along the way, but they didn't seek greatness straight away, and they didn't try and control that end result. An example being Usain Bolt. He didn't spend his time trying to control what was going to happen at the Olympics. He didn't spend his time trying to control whether or not he was going to break the world record. He spent his time on the track every single day with working his hardest and putting in the biggest effort. Working harder than the next guy. Just controlling the things that he could control. And he had faith in himself and his abilities to know that in the future, if you can control that and you have patience for that and you play the long game and you don't seek instant gratification and you don't be in a rush, if you have faith and patience, you will go on to achieve those long-term goals. Control what you can control and have patience on the rest. And with faith and trust in ourselves, we will eventually get there if you're working hard and putting in the effort. So trust me and trust yourself to have patience. Don't sit back. I'm not trying to say you're allowed to just lounge around and do nothing and have patience and it all will come. It won't. But if you're doing the work, if you have the ability, and if you're putting in the effort, it will come. Work hard, stay optimistic, and keep up the effort. Have patience, play the long game, because eventually all of your outrageous dreams and your outrageous goals, they will come if you play that way.